I'm your mother. I have the right, she said after secretly draining $41,000 from my savings to fix my brother's debt. I made one call that silenced her. I am 41 years old and I have spent the most of my adult life as the person my family calls when something needs to be mended. There are no damaged pipes or electrical problems. Money is always money. It started simply when I was 26. Linda's auto payment was a few hundred here and there. Then it increased. My brother Ryan's rent for the 8 months he was between jobs. Dad's insurance ran out, leaving him with unpaid medical bills. I was alerted about family vacations after I scheduled them with the understanding that I would give my fair share. I've never said no. That is the thing about dependability. People stopped asking questions and instead made assumptions. Ryan is 3 years younger than me. And if there is one constant in our family, it is that he has always been the golden child. The athlete in high school. The kind guy at family gatherings. The one who could do no wrong, even while he did everything wrong. He worked 5 different jobs in 11 years, bought a truck he couldn't afford, and married a woman who shared his taste for luxury goods. Linda and Mark grew softer with each passing autumn. I was the one holding the pillow. Ryan bought his home 5 years ago and I realized it was a stretch. His credit was weak, and he barely had enough money to make a down payment. But Linda was overjoyed. She called me that night, full of pride, to tell me how Ryan was finally settling down, building equity, and becoming a true grown-up. I congratulated him. I sent a housewarming gift. I didn't mention that I'd been renting the same small unit for 6 years since I was too focused with keeping everyone else afloat. What I didn't tell anyone was that I had created a separate savings account 3 years ago, a true emergency fund that no one in my family knew about. I had learned the hard way that if they knew there was money available, they would find an excuse to spend it on someone else's emergency. 20% of each paycheck was deposited into the account. There is no debit card or check associated, only a gradual and consistent level of security. $45,000 is mine. That number mattered. It represented each time I ate ramen to pay someone else's tab. My entire trip was canceled because my family urged me to stay hydrated. I used to smile whenever Ryan got a new fancy device while I wore the same jacket for 4 winters. But Linda was unaware that I had taken extra precautions. When Mark attempted to access an old joint account that we had forgotten to close, I grew concerned. I established multi-factor authentication, biometric security transfer limits, and a fraud alarm set to activate on transactions over $600. The account was secure, which gave me peace of mind, or so I thought. Last Tuesday afternoon everything changed. I'd just gotten home from work, dressed in business casual, tie loosened, and ready for a peaceful evening. Then I recognized Linda's car in the guest parking lot. She never simply stopped by. We had Sunday meals, planned visits, and not impromptu trips. The second surprise was her grin when I opened the door. Not her usual welcome. This was unique, triumphant, and nearly euphoric. She held a folder in her hands. Manila, affordable, somewhat bowed edges. I have something to show you, she said, passing me without asking. You're going to be so proud of me. I cautiously shut the door, a strange weight descending on my chest. She sat on my couch and patted the cushion, like if I were 10 years old. I remained standing. This is when she accessed the folder. The folder contained bank statements. Mine. For a moment my mind couldn't process it. Those were my account numbers, balances, and emergency fund put down as proof. How did you get these? I asked. Linda waved her hand. That doesn't matter, sweetheart. What matters is that I found a solution to Ryan's problem. My stomach dropped. What's the solution? She took out another sheet of paper. A payment confirmation for yesterday. I deposited $41,000 of my savings to a mortgage company. Ryan's mortgage firm. The room sloped. My legs made the decision to sit down. You took my money. I used family money to help family, Linda added, as if I had overreacted. Ryan was 3 months overdue on his mortgage. 3 months. They were beginning the foreclosure procedure. He could have lost everything. I looked at the document, my account number, and the sum, which had abruptly changed to $4,000 from $45,000. This was my emergency fund. And it was an emergency. Your brother requires practical support, not a budgeting lesson or a small loan. He wanted someone to step up and protect his home, so I did. Yes, you are using your money, but you may rebuild the account. You're an excellent saver. Ryan needs it right now. 20 replies fought for my throat. What came out was, you stole from me. Do not be stupid. You can't take from your family. Besides, Ryan will repay you. I almost laughed. When? When he gets back to his feet. Once he gets this next promotion, he'll have enough money to repay you with interest. Probably. Probably. Lucas, I don't understand why you are so tough. Your sibling was in turmoil. We are family. Families benefit one another. I thought you'd be pleased that your money could be utilized for something beneficial rather than sitting in an account collecting dust. It was gathering security. It was building up peace of mind. Now it's time to thank your brother. He is quite relieved. You should have seen his expression when I told him the mortgage was current. He almost cried. He kept mentioning how fortunate he was to have a brother like you. I finally looked up at her. Really looked. She smiled, apparently proud of herself. She had taken $41,000 from me with no consent or discussion. And she sat on my couch, hoping for praise. How did you gain access to my account? It has security protocols. Linda appeared nervous for the first time. Well, I might have saved some of your old documents from when you lived at home. Social security card, birth certificate, and other related documents. I recall you proposing that you utilize our previous street address as a security response. It wasn't really difficult. Just a few phone calls and some forms. She had committed identity theft, fraud, and other crimes. She described it as if she had done me a favor. You had no right. I had every right. I'm your mama. I raised you. I fed, clothed, and provided for your educational needs. If anyone has the authority to decide what is best for this family, it is me. Something hot plunged into my chest. Clarity. You will thank me later, Linda said quietly as she stood and adjusted her clothes. You will understand once you have had enough time to think rationally. I did it for my family. I smiled as I glanced at her and the packet she had placed on my coffee table as a gift receipt. Not a genuine smile. Something else. If you think so, I replied kindly. She studied my countenance, trying to figure out if it was agreement or something else. She shrugged, kissed my forehead as if I were a child, and then left. The door clicked shut. I sat for 45 seconds. Then I picked up the phone. Except for the clicking of my refrigerator and computer, the flat was quiet. I sat at my kitchen table, a folder open beside me, and began documenting everything. Screenshots of my account history, photographs of payment confirmations, audio recordings that capture exactly what Linda said, timestamps and details, everything a lawyer would want. It was not a misunderstanding. This was a deliberate theft, with meticulous planning and execution. She had received my personal documents. She had impersonated me. She had bypassed security measures designed to prevent this. However, calling the bank immediately appeared inappropriate because it was overly reactive. If I reported this as fraud right now, Linda would get a lawyer. Ryan would circle the wagons. Mark would mediate, which meant encouraging me to drop it. I have seen this pattern before. Problems were absorbed. The consequences were spread. And those who create difficulties have learned nothing. Not this time. I spent an hour looking into bank fraud and identity theft protocols. The information was evident. If I reported it soon away, the bank would freeze everything, reverse the transaction, and possibly file a report with law enforcement. Ryan's mortgage payment would bounce. He'd be right back where he started, only worse, because bounced payments incur penalties and late fees. Linda would know exactly what I had done. There was poetry in that immediate outcome, but it seemed unnecessarily simplistic. They would simply feel abused by the bureaucracy. They would blame the system rather than themselves. 4 years ago, after the event with Mark and that old joint account, I decided to try something new. A fraud prevention method that goes beyond basic security. Any suspected action triggered an automated review period. Transfers may be reported and stored for 72 hours before being completely processed. I was paranoid back then, but it served as a safety net. I accessed my bank's app and proceeded to the security settings. The fraud review process was still in operation and Linda's payment confirmation date indicated that the transfer had place yesterday afternoon. Thus it was still inside the review window. I called the bank's fraud prevention service. When the individual responded, I respectfully informed them that I needed to report unlawful access. The representative's tone changed to professional and efficient. Then she asked what I wanted them to do. I want the transaction reversed and my account frozen. No one may access it except me in person with photo identification. We can definitely do that, Mr. Hale. Given the circumstances, we will need to file a formal fraud report. Because the amount surpasses our threshold, legal action will most likely be taken. I paused. This was the nuclear option. Nuclear. Can we postpone the law enforcement element for 36 hours? I would like to address this internally first. The representative paused. I understand the sensitivity, but I'd like to be explicit. If we reverse the transfer, we will tell the receiving institution. There will be fines and costs incurred. This will have immediate consequences. I understand. Reverse it. I'll handle this right now. The reversal will occur within an hour. I hung up and looked at the phone. Within an hour, $41,000 would be returned to my account and Ryan's mortgage firm would be notified that the payment had been blocked due to fraud. Linda's phone would ring, Ryan would worry, and we'd both realize I hadn't just accepted what had happened. I looked at the clock. 5:51. I wondered how long it would take. I made dinner, warmed up the leftover spaghetti and ate it at my table while working on my laptop. It was just another Tuesday, except that my phone was resting next to my plate. I turned up the volume and checked in every few minutes. 6:22. Nothing yet. 6:41. Still quiet. At 7:05 it buzzed. Linda sent a text message. Call me when you get a chance. There was no sense of urgency or dread, only a casual demeanor that suggested she had no idea what was coming. I didn't react. My phone flashed up at 7:12 with her name. I let it ring 5 times before responding. Thank God, Lucas. I've been trying to comprehend something. Her voice was perplexed. I'm not worried yet. Just perplexed. What is happening? It's the oddest thing. The mortgage company called about an hour ago to say there was a problem with the payment I made for Ryan. Something about it being reversible. I do not understand. I have the confirmation right here. I took a drink of coffee. That is strange. They say that the payment was recognized as illegal and reversed, but this makes no sense. I have all of the documentation. I followed the correct procedures. What techniques exactly? Linda stopped temporarily. I utilized your account details to complete the transaction. You are aware that we discussed this earlier, Linda. We did not talk about anything. You told me what you had previously accomplished. Yes, absolutely, but the point is that the payment was made appropriately. Therefore, I don't understand why it would be reversed. Do you think it's a bank error? I put down my coffee. It is not an error. This time, the pause lasted longer. What do you mean? I mean, I phoned the bank this afternoon to report the transaction as fraudulent, which it was, so they reversed it. The silence was so long that I pondered, checking to see if the call had been disconnected. When Linda spoke again, her tone had completely changed. What have you done? I reported fraud. You accessed my account without authorization, using stolen personal information, and transferred funds without my permission. That's typical deception. The bank agreed. Lucas, this is ridiculous. I'm your mama, and we are family. You cannot accuse your own kin of fraud based on a misunderstanding. This was not a misunderstanding. You knew exactly what you were doing. You were the one who planned it. You have my documents. You impersonated me. Linda, these are crimes. Several offenses. I was assisting your brother with my money without my consent. I heard movement on her end, including footsteps and a door closing. When she spoke again, her voice was lower and tighter. Do you have any idea what you just did? Ryan's payment failed to clear. The mortgage company is enforcing fines. He is about to lose his house because of you. He is likely to lose his home since he has not paid his mortgage in 3 months, and you committed fraud believing there would be no repercussions. This is ridiculous. You are willing to end your brother's life for money. I am ready to defend myself against theft, even if the perpetrator is my mother. After everything we've done for you and what this family has given you, something within me snapped, not into rage, but into ice-cold clarity. What has this family offered you, Linda? Was it actually handed to me? Because from where I sit, I've given you thousands of dollars throughout the years. I've bailed Ryan out more times than I can recall. I have paid Mark's medical expenses. I paid for family trips to which I was not invited. So what did I get? My mother believes that my bank account is community property. Nonetheless, my brother struggles to pay his own mortgage. That's not fair. Fair. Is it fair that Ryan got a new car for graduation and I got a card? Is it fair that you pay for his wedding while advising me to keep mine small? Was it right that you took my $41,000 emergency fund, which I had accumulated for years, and gave it to him without asking? Linda's voice cracked. I believed you would understand. I understand perfectly. You chose Ryan over me again, like you normally do. This time, however, there will be ramifications. Lucas, please. This is something we cannot address. Let me speak with the bank. No, the account is locked. Only I have access to it right now. You are unable to touch it. Ryan is unable to touch it. Nobody can. I overheard another sound over the phone. Car door sounds. Linda took a sharp intake of breath. Ryan just pulled up. He got a call from the mortgage company. He is entering. Lucas, you need to fix this right now. I'm not mending anything. You broke it. You deal with it. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Not from fear but rather from adrenaline. After years of swallowing words, they were finally spoken. My phone rang 4 minutes later. Ryan's number. I let it go to voicemail. He called right back, again and again. The fifth time, I responded. What the heck did you do? Ryan's voice was full of hatred. I reported the scam to my bank. You got my mortgage payment reversed. Do you have any idea what this will cost me? The fines alone total around $2,800. Furthermore, they are accelerating my foreclosure process. I now have 30 days instead of 90. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? This is my home, Lucas, my house. And you just ruined it because of what? Are you furious with Linda? I am not angry at Linda. I reported a crime. She took $41,000 from me. That constitutes criminal theft. She was attempting to help me with money that was not her own. I saved money. I needed money. She had no right to handle the money. Ryan's laugh was harsh. What do you need the money for? You don't have children. You don't own a house. You do not have a wife. You just stay in your condo hoarding money while the rest of us try to live real lives. Each phrase felt like a smack, but underneath was confirmation of how my family saw me. Not as a person with desires and goals, but as a resource to be used when convenient. You're correct. I don't have those items. Would you like to know why? Because whenever I save enough for a down payment, someone in my family has an emergency. I've spent 16 years as everyone's backup plan. And every time I try to defend myself, you call me selfish because you are selfish. This is family, Lucas. Families benefit one another. Ryan, help works both ways. Or at least it should. When was the last time you helped me? When was the last time you asked if I needed something? Silence. That's what I thought. Linda claimed you almost burst into tears when she informed you that the mortgage had been paid. Did you cry because you were grateful or relieved that someone else had resolved your issue? This is different. It isn't. It is the exact same pattern. You make decisions that you cannot afford. Linda allows you, and I pay for it literally. The only difference this time was that I said no. You said no by committing fraud. I reported fraud. Linda entered my account unlawfully. She utilized stolen papers. She impersonated me. These are crimes. The only reason she is not in handcuffs right now is since I urged the bank to postpone the police report that halted him. What? The bank wants to file quickly. I requested 36 hours to handle things internally, but if Linda attempts anything else, that protection disappears. The cops become involved. She is charged. You are bluffing. Call the bank. Inquire about the fraud report submitted this afternoon. See if I am bluffing. More silence. I could hear breathing and conversations in the background. So what do you want? Money. An apology. I do not want anything from you, and I am not repairing anything I did not break. Then what is the point? Is this just to harm us? The point is about limits. The point is about the repercussions. The key is that my money belongs to me and no one else can make judgments about it. Fine, keep your money, but you are also keeping the guilt when I lose my house. No, Ryan, it is on you. You are 3 months overdue on your mortgage. How did this happen? Where is your money gone? He did not respond. The truck, I muttered as the pieces clicked together. You purchased a new vehicle 7 months ago. $49,000, when your old one worked properly. That is where your mortgage money went, was it not? My old truck had 152,000 miles and operated well. You wanted a new vehicle. You selected the new truck. When you could not afford both payments, you opted for the truck. Now you want me to feel guilty for not rescuing you from your own actions. You do not understand. I understand perfectly. You chose pride over duty. That is okay. But the repercussions are yours, not mine. Linda is weeping. She is weeping at the kitchen table. Linda is weeping because she was caught. You are really not going to help. I am really not. Then we are done. You and I. After this, we are over. Something inside of me calmed. Not sad. Relief. Okay. Okay. That is all you need to say. What else is there? You've stated your position clearly. I've stated it plainly. We disagree on whether stealing from relatives is appropriate. This appears to be a fairly basic distinction. Ryan hung up without saying another word. I sat there with my phone, hoping to feel something. Guilt, despair, and fury. But all I felt was exhaustion, as if I'd been carrying a weight for years and had finally let it go. My cell phone vibrated. A text from Mark. Your mother is very unhappy. Call me. I looked at the message. Mark never gets involved in family dramas. He was responsible for maintaining order and ensuring that everything ran smoothly. I understood what calling him meant. He would like to make a compromise. The solution would require me to give Ryan money again, and I would be right back where I began. I turned off my phone and went to bed. I called in sick to work the next day, not because I was physically ill, but because I needed time to reflect. My phone remained off until midday. When I eventually turned it on, it displayed 42 missed calls, 26 text messages, and 5 voicemails. I didn't check any of them. Instead, I drove to the bank. Emily, the manager, greeted me with professional concern. I heard about it yesterday, Mr. Hale. I really apologize. Thank you. I need to make some changes to my account. We spent an hour sifting through everything. I canceled the savings account where the theft occurred and opened a new one with different numbers. I increased the security levels. I eliminated any recovery contacts my family might have. I changed every security question to something only I would know. Emily replied with sadness. I hate that you have to do this. But I get why. Has my mother tried to contact the bank? Emily hesitated. I am unable to discuss other customers, but I can assure you that any attempts to reverse the fraud reversal would be futile and would result in the police report we have on hold. Good. I left the bank feeling lighter. My money was secure. This time, it's actually secure. My phone rang as I was driving home. An unknown number. Lucas Hale is speaking. This is Sarah Mitchell from First National Mortgage. I'm calling regarding Ryan Hale's account. Our records show you as an authorized contact. I'm not an authorized contact. You have old information. I'm calling to discuss payment options for yesterday's return payment. I'm not discussing anything. The mortgage is Ryan's responsibility, not mine. I understand how delicate this is. However, I wanted to see if there could be a private deal to avoid foreclosure. So there it was. The mortgage company is looking for money from anyone connected to Ryan. There is no agreement. Ryan must handle this himself. Mr. Hale, your brother has 30 days before we proceed with the foreclosure. If there is any way you can assist him. Number. My family took $41,000 from me to pay Ryan's mortgage. The bank rejected it as fraudulent. That is why you are calling. Now you're attempting to shame me into freely surrendering money that I've already taken. The answer is no. Don't call this number again. I hung up and blocked the number. That evening Mark called. Lucas, what do we need to talk about in this situation? About what you're doing to this family. What am I doing? Mark. Linda stole from me. She committed fraud. She made an error. It is a mistake to use excessive salt in soup. This was calculated. She took my documents, impersonated me, and committed a crime. Mark sighed. Your family, not you, is incorrect about the legalities. Families work through difficulties. I did not make matters worse. I prevented a crime from having no consequences. Your mother is distraught. She hasn't eaten much in 3 days. Then perhaps she shouldn't have stolen $41,000. The money would have simply remained in your account. You weren't using it. So there it was. The essential belief. My money was not on my mind. That money represented my security, safety net, and future. Just because I'm not using it right now doesn't mean it's available for others to take. Nobody was taking. Your mother borrowed on Ryan's behalf without asking, without permission, and without a realistic repayment plan. That is taking. That is stealing. Silence. Then quieter. What do you want me to say? Your mother was mistaken. Okay, she was wrong. But what's done is done. The question is, what should we do next? We do nothing. Linda is struggling with the consequences of her decisions. Ryan deals with his, and I defend what is mine. If Ryan loses his house, he will lose it. This does not signify the end of the world. He can rent. He's capable of downsizing. He can make different choices. You sound extremely cold. I sound finished. I've been the family banker for 16 years, and the only time I draw a line I get chilly. I'm selfish. I'm wrecking the family. Have you heard how it sounds? Mark did not respond promptly. He changed his voice, making it sound older. Linda would like to know if you will attend Sunday dinner. No, Mark. I'm not sitting at a table pretending everything is fine when everyone believes I'm the villain. If you want to eat dinner with me, we can do so somewhere else. It's just us. However, I no longer prepare meals for my family. Are you truly willing to destroy this family for money? I am prepared to defend myself against those who think my boundaries are negotiable. If something destroys the family, it may not have been as strong in the first place. Mark hung up without a goodbye. I stood in my kitchen, phone in hand, feeling the gravity of what had just occurred. I had virtually cut myself off from my family. I waited for guilt to strike. It didn't arrive. Instead, I felt space, freedom to breathe, and relief from the constant fear of what disaster would strike next. I sat down at my laptop and finished something I'd been putting off for 4 years. I started looking for genuine homes in my price range. The next morning I called a realtor. 4 weeks later, I closed on a small townhouse with 3 bedrooms, a new kitchen, and a small garden. That was mine. I did not notify or invite my family, nor did I share any photos with them. I recently moved in on a Saturday with the help of 2 co-workers who had become close friends. Sitting on my couch in my living room on the first night in my new home, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My phone had been silent. Linda stopped making daily calls. Ryan has stopped sending texts. Even Mark had stopped reaching out. I understood what it meant. I'd been cut off, excommunicated for having boundaries, and I was fine with it until 5 weeks later, when my doorbell rang on a Sunday afternoon. I looked through the peephole and saw Linda standing alone on my doorstep. There was no folder this time, just her pocketbook and a tired expression. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity won. How did you find me? I contacted your workplace and informed them that I was your mother with an emergency. They gave me your new address. I made a mental note to report it to HR. What do you want? Can I come in? No. Linda flinched. Lucas, please. I just want to talk. We talked. You explained why you believed that stealing from me was justified. I explained that it wasn't. There is nothing more to say. Ryan lost his house. I didn't react. They foreclosed 3 weeks ago. He and Lauren are now staying with us. It is extremely crowded and cramped. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because you don't sound sorry. Perhaps I was slightly pleased. Not because Ryan was suffering, but because the consequences had arrived. What would you like me to say, Linda? I told you what would happen. Ryan had alternatives. He could have sold the truck. He might have worked more hours. He had the option of shrinking. He chose not to. That is on him. He is your brother. He's a 34-year-old man trying to figure out his own life. Linda's eyes filled with tears. This time, they were real. When did you become so hard? You stole $41,000 from me and expected me to thank you. I came to apologize. It astonished me. Okay. I apologize. I apologize for accessing your account without your permission. I am sorry I didn't ask. I apologize for justifying it by telling myself I was helping my family. The words were correct, but the delivery seemed odd, as if it had been rehearsed. Why now? Why apologize now, after 5 weeks of silence? Linda turned away. Because things are so bad at home. Ryan and Lauren are always fighting. Mark is stressed. The house is too small, and I hoped that if I apologized, you would agree to help. There it was. Not a genuine apology, but a transaction. No, Linda. Please, we need. I don't really care what you need. For 16 years, I cared. I gave. I made sacrifices. And as soon as I finished, you all cut me off as if I hadn't mattered. Things are difficult right now. And you suddenly remember that I exist. That is not family, Linda. This is exploiting people. We are not using you. Yes, you are. You've always been. And I'm done being exploited. I have my own life now. I own a house. My personal plans, which do not include funding for others' choices. Linda's face stiffened. The melancholy vanished. You've changed. No. I finally gave up pretending that what this family did to me was normal, acceptable, or loving. So that's all. You're going to abandon us. I'm going to live my life. You are welcome to participate as long as you stay within my boundaries. But if you can't, and all you want is access to my money, we're done. Linda looked at me for a long time. She turned and walked back to her car, saying nothing else. I closed the door and stood in my entrance, my hands trembling slightly and my pulse racing. I had just burned the last bridge, making it clear that there was no going back to the way things were. It felt both terrifying and liberating. 7 months later, I'm writing from my home office, which I converted from the second bedroom. I was promoted twice after separating from my family. It turns out that not constantly worrying about other people's problems helps you perform better at work. I haven't heard from Linda or Ryan in 6 months. Mark sends me quick, neutral texts on occasion to see if I'm still alive. I respond in the same manner. Last week I got an SMS from an unknown number. It was Lauren, Ryan's wife. I'm not sure you'll see this, but I wanted to let you know we're doing well. Ryan landed a better paying job. We are renting a small flat. It is not the house, but rather ours. Perhaps he had to lose everything. He is different now. Be more responsible. Anyway, I thought you should know. I did not respond, but I saved the message. Not because I wanted to reconcile, but because it reaffirmed my long-standing beliefs. Consequences educate. Enabling doesn't. I'm now dating someone, a woman I met at a coffee shop. She has no idea about my family's problems, other than that we are not close. She does not ask for specifics. She respects boundaries. It's refreshing. We're thinking about moving in together next year, possibly getting a dog and making our own life, rather than borrowing, stealing, or giving it away to others who don't appreciate it. Linda brought me a folder that day, which I still have. I kept it in a drawer as a reminder of what I got back, rather than what was stolen. My dignity, my boundaries, my life, and $41,000 that will never fall into the wrong hands.